Christine Brennan is after making a suggestion for why DeWanna Bonner maybe left the Indiana Fever, and her reasoning is crazy if true.
A future Hall of Famer mysteriously vanished from the most famous team in the WNBA. DeWanna Bonner was signed by the Indiana Fever to be a champion mentor for superstar Caitlin Clark, but just weeks into the season, she ghosted the team, disappeared from the public eye, and was quietly waived. The official explanation was personal reasons, but the real story is far more shocking. Explosive theories point to a crushing pressure that no one saw coming, a secret personal conflict, and a league struggling to handle its own newfound fame.
The DeWanna Bonner situation is one of the most unprofessional things I have ever seen in any level of professional sports, and it has to be addressed. If you're not familiar, DeWanna Bonner is cut from the Indiana Fever. We have just waived her, and we've brought back Ari McDonald. DeWanna Bonner has not played in the last few Indiana Fever games, and we were all thinking it was because of personal reasons. And all us Indiana Fever fans were thinking it was something big. I even said on a few of my live streams, hey.
The story begins with immense promise. When the Indiana Fever signed DeWanna Bonner to a one-year, $200,000 contract, it was seen as a brilliant move. Here was a 16-year veteran, a 6-time All-Star, and a proven champion brought in to be the stabilizing force alongside the generational talent of Caitlin Clark. She was meant to be the leader in the locker room, the calm presence on the court who could guide the young Fever through the chaotic storm of their newfound fame. And for a moment, it worked. On May 17th, Bonner hit a massive milestone, becoming the 3rd all-time leading scorer in WNBA history. It was a celebrated moment, a sign that the blend of youth and experience in Indiana was poised for greatness. But almost immediately after hitting that peak, everything fell apart. Her performance dipped, she was moved from the starting lineup to the bench, and then she was gone. Bonner stopped appearing with the team, with the organization citing vague personal reasons for her absence. Then came the final, stunning announcement. The Indiana Fever had waived DeWanna Bonner. A legend had been cast aside, and the WNBA world was left asking one simple question: what in the world just happened?
Learned yesterday that DeWanna Bonner had no intention of coming back to the Indiana Fever. So initially we were wondering, hey, what is the reason? And the media has been feeding us this lie. The main reason why DeWanna Bonner is dipping out is because she wants to be in a starting position, and maybe she's mad about Lexi Holt outperforming her. Maybe she's mad about the fact that she's not getting the position of Natasha Howard on the team, and she's just been benched because she has not been playing well. They've also been saying that the fit is not well because she is a very slow player in a team that likes to play really fast. These are good concerns, and these are true probably to a certain extent, but that's not the end of it. What they've been trying to hide is the fact that DeWanna Bonner is leaving to go play with her wife.
At first, the explanation seemed straightforward. On the surface, you could argue that Bonner simply wasn't a good fit. At 37, she was a slower, more methodical player on a team that wanted to play with lightning-fast pace. Some analysts suggested she was unhappy with her diminishing role after being benched, unable to accept that younger, quicker players were outperforming her. These are common issues in professional sports, where aging legends often struggle to adapt to new team dynamics. It's a tale as old as time, the veteran star who can't accept they are no longer the main character. But these explanations felt too simple, too clean. They didn't account for the sheer unprofessionalism of her exit. Players get benched all the time. They don't typically ghost their team for weeks. The silence from both Bonner and the Fever was deafening, hinting that the real story was far more complex than just a bad fit. And it wasn't long before a bombshell theory emerged from one of the most credible voices in sports journalism.
As much as Christine Brennan does very much lean anti-WNBA, she's still Christine Brennan. Like, I know a lot of people want to say, oh, Christine Brennan is this, Christine Brennan is that, but at the end of the day, Christine Brennan is Christine Brennan. She is arguably the most important female sports journalist of all time.
Christine Brennan, the legendary columnist for USA Today, went on ESPN and offered an explanation that sent shockwaves through the league. She suggested the reason for Bonner's departure had nothing to do with her role or her performance on the court. Instead, Brennan argued that DeWanna Bonner, a 16-year veteran who had played on the biggest stages, simply could not handle the blinding spotlight of the Caitlin Clark experience. Brennan pointed to a specific telling moment after a home game on May 17th. In a post-game interview, Bonner admitted the crowd kind of shocked me a little bit. This is my first time playing in this kind of environment. For any other player, it might seem like a humble comment, but coming from a multi-time champion who had played in packed arenas her entire career, it was a stunning admission. This wasn't just a big crowd, this was different. This was the Caitlin Clark circus, and according to Brennan, it had completely overwhelmed her.
So here's what she said about DeWanna Bonner.
Look at DeWanna Bonner, and there's reporting on her, and I don't have any inside reporting. So DeWanna Bonner was brought in by Stephanie White, the new coach, formerly a Fever player and coach as well, for the Fever, brought from Connecticut, and she wanted to bring her star veteran, 37-year-old DeWanna Bonner, as a stabilizing influence. A leader went out in 2 games in the playoffs, and they needed more depth and more leadership and more veteran savvy, etc. So that's the decision that Stephanie White makes. Within a couple of games, DeWanna Bonner is not playing well, and then she disappears, and then she's literally now gone and says she doesn't want to play and she wants to trade and
so
we'll see what's
weird
with Phoenix and all of that. Well, it is, but the little...
we know up to that point. We know she was playing badly. She disappeared.
To understand Brennan's theory, you have to understand that the Caitlin Clark effect is more than just ticket sales. It's a complete cultural reset for the WNBA. Every single Indiana Fever game is now a national event broadcast on major networks. Every play is dissected on social media. Every press conference is scrutinized, and the pressure is relentless. For decades, WNBA players competed in relative anonymity. Now, playing for the Fever is like playing for the Dallas Cowboys or the New York Yankees. The attention is constant, and for some, it's suffocating. Brennan's theory posits that Bonner, who was used to a certain level of professional life, was suddenly thrust into a chaotic media storm she never signed up for. Instead of embracing it, she wilted under the pressure. It wasn't just about playing basketball anymore. It was about being a character in a 24/7 reality show. But if the pressure was too much, she was also walking away from a fortune, and that's where the story gets even stranger.
This next part is the crazy part, and this next part is why I'm making this video, because up to this point, from what Christine Brennan said, and this is Christine Brennan on ESPN LA, and it's a video titled "Christine Brennan thinks Caitlin Clark can do the unthinkable."
Little clue here. I was at that game, May 17th, that home opener for the Fever against Chicago, and they just absolutely steamrolled them, over 30 points. Great game by the Fever. And Bonner made it third all time at scoring, and had like 7 or some points. Her interview right afterwards, it's a joyous moment, right? I mean, we've all seen these interviews. Ramona, you've done them, I've done them. You're talking to the player. This is easy stuff, and she goes, "I was shocked," she said, at the crowd. I've never seen anything like this, never experienced anything like this before. And I thought, what an interesting thing to say. Honest, yay, we love honesty. Yeah. But she's 37 and she's never seen anything like this. She meant it's 17,000 people, packed house, going crazy. They know their basketball, and they love you, and they love Caitlin, and they love everything about the team that Bonner is now on. Great, okay. And talking to a source or two, it appears that Bonner was unable to, in some way, shape, or form, just deal with that spotlight.
Playing alongside Caitlin Clark isn't just a professional pressure cooker, it's a financial gold mine. As Christine Brennan pointed out, Clark can't do every commercial, every autograph signing, or every local supermarket appearance. Her immense popularity creates a halo effect, where her teammates are flooded with endorsement opportunities they would never get on any other team. For a player like DeWanna Bonner, at the tail end of her career, this should have been the perfect final payday. On top of her $200,000 salary, she was in a position to cash in on the unprecedented hype surrounding the team, and yet she walked away from it all. The fact that she would abandon not just her team, but also a significant financial opportunity lends heavy credence to Brennan's theory. It suggests the mental and emotional toll of the spotlight was so severe that no amount of money could convince her to stay. It paints a picture of a player who felt so cornered and overwhelmed that her only option was to run. While the spotlight theory dominated headlines, another more personal theory began to circulate in quieter corners of the internet, one that the mainstream media was reluctant to touch. DeWanna Bonner's personal reasons for leaving might have been exactly that, deeply personal. Bonner is married to Alyssa Thomas, an MVP caliber player for the Connecticut Sun, one of the Fever's biggest rivals. The 2024 WNBA season has been particularly fraught with tension, much of it centered around the treatment of Caitlin Clark. Imagine the strain of that environment. One partner is on the most talked about team in the world, dealing with a media circus, while the other is on a rival team, hearing the constant chatter from a different perspective, the demanding travel schedules, the emotional weight of competing against each other, and the endless drama could have created an unbearable strain on their relationship. This theory suggests Bonner's exit wasn't an act of quitting under pressure, but a conscious choice to prioritize her personal life and mental well-being over a professional situation that had become toxic. It reframes her as someone making a difficult choice for her family, not a veteran who couldn't handle the heat. As the Fever were left to pick up the pieces, Bonner was already looking ahead, and her preferred destinations speak volumes. Reports indicated her top choices were the Phoenix Mercury or the Atlanta Dream. This wasn't a random list. What do those two teams have in common? Neither has a media phenomenon on the scale of Caitlin Clark. While they have their own stars, they operate in a more traditional WNBA media environment, far from the 24/7 news cycle that follows the Fever. This choice strongly supports the theory that she was fleeing the spotlight. It suggests she wasn't done with basketball, but she was done with the circus. By targeting teams where she could be a primary or secondary star without the overwhelming scrutiny, Bonner was attempting to reclaim control of her career and her narrative, seeking a return to the league she knew, not the new chaotic version she found in Indiana. While Bonner may have been making a choice for her own well-being, back in Indiana, her decision left a trail of chaos. This wasn't just any player leaving, this was the veteran handpicked by coach Stephanie White to guide the franchise. It was a calculated gamble that had spectacularly backfired, leaving a gaping hole in their roster and their leadership structure. Caitlin Clark herself had spoken glowingly about Bonner, saying, "I want to win for her. This is the end of her career. She deserves it." Instead of winning with her, the team was blindsided. Her sudden departure forced the Fever to scramble, signing Aari McDonald to fill the roster spot mid-season and throwing their team chemistry into disarray, right as they were hitting a crucial stretch and pushing for a playoff spot. It was a massive distraction and a professional betrayal that left the front office and the locker room reeling. As speculation swirled, DeWanna Bonner finally broke her silence, but her message only added to the mystery. She took to Instagram with a cryptic post, clearly aimed at her critics. She wrote, "A quitter? Nah, never been that." Then she added a line that felt like a promise and a threat. But when the time comes, let's just make sure the apologies are just as loud as the disrespect. The post was a defiant roar from a player who felt her legacy was being tarnished. But what truth was she referring to? Was she pushing back against the narrative that she was too weak to handle the spotlight? Or was she hinting that the real story, perhaps the deeply personal one involving her marriage and well-being, was far more complicated than anyone knew, and that one day it would all come out? Her words hung in the air, a clear sign that this saga was far from over, and that the official story was nowhere near the whole truth. In the end, the sudden departure of DeWanna Bonner from the Indiana Fever is a story with no clear villain and no easy answers. Was she a legendary veteran who, in a shocking twist, found herself unable to cope with the unprecedented pressures of the modern WNBA? Was she a person caught in the crossfire of professional drama and personal turmoil, forced to make an impossible choice between her career and her family? Or was the entire situation just a calculated risk by a team that backfired, leaving everyone to deal with the consequences? Perhaps the truth is a combination of all three. Bonner's mysterious exit serves as a cautionary tale. It's a stark illustration of the growing pains of a league rocketing into a new stratosphere of fame, and a reminder that the blinding lights of the spotlight can reveal cracks that no one ever expected to see.